Guys, today we're going to talk about multiplying and dividing with fractions. We're going to include mixed numbers and whole numbers as well. And the I can statement we're working on is I can use the standard algorithm to multiply and divide with fractions. So let's start with multiplying fractions and mixed numbers. When you multiply two fractions, all you're really doing, and this should be a review for you, is just simply multiplying the numerators, then multiplying the denominators. So in this case, what I would do is 4 times 4 and 5 times 12, which would give me 16 over 60. And of course, whenever I'm dealing with fractions and I come to a solution, I always have to ask myself, do I need to simplify? And in this case, you do need to simplify your answer. You can divide the numerator and denominator by 4 and get 4/15. When I'm multiplying with a whole number, all I simply need to do is turn that whole number into an improper fraction, which basically means the denominator of that whole number becomes 1. And then I use the same rule as I did before. Multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators. I get 2 times 5 over 3 times 1, which is 10 over 3. And again, I need to simplify. And in this case, simplifying is going to mean turning that 10/3 into a mixed number. So 3 goes into 10 3 times with a remainder of 1, 3 and 1/3. Okay? When I have mixed numbers, there's just one little added step to this. All I need to do is turn those mixed numbers into improper fractions, which, denominator times the whole number plus the numerator. So 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. That's how I got that 5 here. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13. That's how I got my 13 in my numerator. Now notice the denominators stay the same. Again, I'm just going to simply multiply my numerators, multiply my denominators, 15 times 3, 2 times 4, and get 65 over 8. Now, I have an improper fraction again, so 8 goes into 65, 8 times with a remainder of 1, so 8 1/8 is my product. Okay? If you want to, you can make your life easier by simplifying before you multiply. And if you do this first, now this is my favorite way to do it because I typically have smaller numbers in my original fractions. So I'm dealing with smaller numbers. I can see common factors better. And then if I do it all the way in the problem before I solve, if I simplify first, I shouldn't have to simplify my answer. So I don't need to worry about doing that. I'm dealing with smaller numbers and I don't have to remember to simplify in the end, unless I have an improper fraction. So here we go. I noticed 3/9 can be simplified, 6/12 can be simplified. So in that case, 3/9 becomes 1/3, 6/12 becomes 1/2. Now I'm multiplying 1/3 times 1/2, which is much more manageable, smaller numbers to deal with. 1 times 1 and 3 times 2, which is 1/6. Notice my answer is already in simplest form, so I don't need to go back and worry about simplifying because I did it first. All right, it's your turn. On the next screen, try these problems, pause the video, and then press play. Let's check your work. Okay, let's see how you did. Here are your products. Now let's talk about dividing with fractions and mixed numbers, okay? Dividing fractions is very similar to multiplying fractions. There's just one added step, okay? When I am multiplying fractions, I keep the first fraction the same, change the division to multiplication, so here's my multiplication symbol, and then I take the reciprocal or the flip of the second fraction, okay? So keep it, keep the first fraction the same, change it, change the division to multiplication, flip it. Flip your second fraction, which is also called taking the reciprocal of that fraction. And then once I've done that, I simply multiply the numbers and then simplify if I need to. So 3 times 6 is 18, 4 times 5 is 20. I have a common factor of 2, so 18 divided by 2 is 9, 20 divided by 2 is 10, so 9/10 is my quotient here. The rules don't change when I'm multiplying by a whole number before I do anything, I need to turn that, before I do anything, I need to turn that whole number into an improper fraction, which means I need to put a 1 underneath it. Okay, so what I'm really doing is I'm changing this 10 to, to 10 over 1. Okay, now I keep it, I change it, I flip it. Okay, multiply straight across. 2 times 1 is 2, 3 times 10 is 30, and simplify. 2/30 becomes 1/15. Same thing when I'm dealing with mixed numbers. Just like with multiplication, I need to turn my mixed numbers into improper fractions first, and then I'm going to keep it, change it, flip it. So 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. I keep my denominator. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 4 is 9. I keep my denominator. Now, I need to keep it, change it, flip it, and multiply and simplify if needed. So 8 times 5 is 40, 3 times 9 is 27. It's an improper fraction. So 27 goes into 40 once with 13 left over, and I leave my denominator the same. So here is my quotient. Okay, now it's your turn. Go ahead and do these two problems. Pause the video. When you're done, press play. Let's see how you did. All right, let's see how you did. For both of these problems, you had to turn your your mixed numbers into improper fractions. Then keep it, change it, flip it. Keep it, change it, flip it. Multiply straight across and simplify as needed. And there are your two quotients. All right, we are done with this video. You can go back and watch any part as many times as you need to, or the entire thing, but don't forget to WSQ in your notes. And have a great day.